This is the FilmDimension interview with Sherice Griffiths. Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really good. Yeah, enjoying the sunshine today, so can't
I know
complain.
it's really nice. Every time I do a Zoom interview lately, it seems to be sunny, so that's a good thing. We're going to be talking about films today, of course, and your films and short films and just your ideas and how you got started, really. So I found you on Twitter, and I really like some of the stuff you've done and some of the stuff you're working on. Um, how did you? Well, first of all, how did you know that you wanted to kind of make films?
Well, I mean, a lot of people started young, and I also kind of started young, I guess. So I was given like a little handheld camera when I was about 7 years old. So it's my nan's old camera, and she
Cool.
was like, "Yeah, just go make some films with this." And I was just like, "Okay, cool." So I was running around TV, was putting like the camera in the refrigerator, and obviously back then there wasn't like editing software, so it was all kind of cut in camera in sequence. And I just loved doing it. It was just amazing, and I was like, "Wow, you can do this as a job."
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know how hard it would be to do it as a job, but I was like, I'm going to do this as a job. And that's kind of
Sure.
really what kind of started my passion, really. Yeah.
Cool, cool. And again, there's like a divide, isn't there, between the filmmakers that just go and do it and don't necessarily go through the film school university route, and the ones that have sort of taken more sort of formal education. Which did you end up doing?
Well, I'd say a bit of both, really. So I kind of was making like short films on the side, and then I went to Westminster Uni, which was pretty good for a film school. Kind of taught me the ropes of how to make film properly rather than sort of just running around with the camera like a headless chicken.
Yeah.
So for me, I thought it was quite a good grounding to sort of learn the ropes, and yeah, kind of went from there,
Cool,
really.
cool, cool. And again, yeah, it is important to somewhere along the line learn how to do it properly, or whatever properly is. Um, what was your first short film? And again, is it available now? And do you want to talk about just the short films you have made up until today?
Yeah, sure. So I'd say, yeah, so I'd say the first proper short film that I kind of made, which wasn't just me running around with a handycam, was called Don't Mug Yourself. So that was like a uni project, and we got to shoot on 16 mil.
Cool.
So for before you could kind of cut and edit as much as you wanted, but this for me was like, right, you've got to actually work out what shots you want, and you have to actually think about the style of storytelling you were going to use.
Mm.
I think it is online, so you probably can find it. As I say, it's called Don't Mug Yourself. And yeah, that was kind of really what kind of introduced me to film language, really, I guess.
Sure, sure. And then from going on there, did you basically have lots of other ideas? You're right, we want to sort of the next one we want to be a little bit more ambitious, or is there like is there a plan to
Um,
your films?
yeah, I'd say it's been a bit chaotic, sort of establishing kind of what stories I want to tell. But as I've gone sort of forward in my career, I guess, I've kind of found that actually I really want to make comedies, and that's kind of where I'd like to sort of take my filmmaking. I've done a few dramas, and I quite enjoyed the experience, but I keep having this sort of funny bone where I'm like, oh, I really want to put this joke in here. Oh, this would be hilarious if we did this. And I've not been listening to that voice until sort of recently, and I'm like, actually, that voice is embracing that at the moment. So I'm working on some shorts that are just sort of sketches and comedies, just to kind of really get out there as a comedy filmmaker.
A lot of short films, certainly that I come across, they tend to be very serious. So it's interesting you were saying about comedies, because I've seen some brilliant short comedies that are really, really funny, much more funnier than anything that I've seen in the cinema, sort of thing. Um, and yeah, it almost seems like a bit of a shame that there's not more people trying to do comedy. So I think that's a very cool thing, that if you could build up a sort of a portfolio or name for making lots of films, but like truly funny ones, because I think that's something that seems to be missing these days. I can't really remember the last really funny film that I've seen. There's lots of films that are marketed as comedies, but you kind of think like, really, um, What would you say is your inspiration for
British filmmaker. No, I was just going to say that basically, obviously, when you go to the cinema to watch a comedy, a lot of the time they tend to be American comedies.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think the UK really invests in sort of comedy filmmakers. It tends to just be sort of on TV, on, you know, BBC Three, Channel 4, stuff like that. But I feel like there's so much talent here in the UK where we could be really pushing, you know, the comedy market, because we are funny. We're a funny bunch.
Yeah. I mean, we've got tons of really good comedians, stand-up comedians, and all sorts of things. And yeah, you're right. It's like, why aren't you seeing kind of like some of the more, I don't even want to say underground, because, you know, they could be like doing it for like 10, 15 years, but some of the really, really good comics that are on the circuit very rarely seem to translate into film or TV. It's the same old faces that are always on TV in terms of comedians. And yeah, that would be an interesting little sort of subgenre, wouldn't it? It's a British comedy, homegrown comedy with really, really funny people in films. I think that would be very cool.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I see on your website you've got a work in progress, which is the zombie one. Do you want to talk about that? Because that looked really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So I started working on this short film about a year ago. So I kind of started coming up with the concept. It's called Zombies, Trains and Automobiles. And it's a set of trains and flesh-eating zombies. Cool. So it's about this older couple who've kind of forgotten their love for each other. And it just so happens that they've kind of driven into a zombie apocalypse and their car's broken down. So they then have to kind of fight their way out of the situation by kind of working together as a team to kind of bring them back together, and hopefully get out alive, basically. So, yeah.
That sounds really cool.
I guess at the moment the film.
Yeah. When are you hoping?
I was just going to say at the moment in a bit, so I'm trying to get. Oh, yeah. No, you go. What was your question? Sorry.
Just going to say, when's your sort of timeline for that to be made?
Well, we're hoping to launch a crowdfunding campaign sort of in the next sort of month or two. We did apply for the BFI Film Fund, but unfortunately we didn't get it. I guess zombies aren't quite their cup of tea. But yeah, so we're still going to press on with the film one way or another. And yeah, we've got the battle of crowdfunding to go through, but with
crowdfunding's difficult. It really is. But if you did do it right, then it can pay off. So that's hopefully something that would be in production this year. You know, if you can get all your funding and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
From your point of view, from a sort of as an independent filmmaker, as a new filmmaker, how do you find film at the moment? Not just with COVID, but even pre-COVID, but just from someone that's trying to sort of break into making their own films, constantly chasing finances, that sort of thing. How is the film industry treating you?
I think it'd be fair to say it's difficult. It's quite challenging. So with most of the shorts that I've made, I've had to sort of either self-fund or literally kind of just pull favours and just make for no budget. So last year, sketches and things, managed to get some really talented people on board, and we made a couple of shorts that have actually gone on to a few festivals this year, and they were made for literally nothing. So the hope is to kind of keep doing these sort of for nothing films alongside trying to get something with a budget made. I think that's kind of the only way to do it, really. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there waiting and twiddling your fingers, hoping that fund is going to come in at some point. But the truth is, it's so competitive, especially at the moment. It feels like everyone's trying to get out there and make stuff because they've had this sort of long period of time where they've all had this time to write, like a lot of us have. So yeah, everyone's trying to get this money that kind of, it's such a small pot to get it. So it really is about trying to do it in the most cheapest way possible, the safest way possible, and actually get it made. That's always the challenge. But I think you've got to keep going. You've just got to keep looking for those opportunities. You might get lucky, you might not. So it's always good to have those, cheaper scripts that you can make, maybe with just a few friends or people that you know, just to keep. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's arguably never been easy, but it seems it's getting or got quite a bit harder for new filmmakers. Do you see anything on the horizon in terms of films, both trends, the way films made, or the idea of streaming? Do you see anything coming along the line that could help indie filmmakers get out there, get seen, get paid?
Trying to think. I think a lot of it seems to be people at home at the moment just kind of filming on their phones. So I think that's definitely a trend that has really kind of spiked in lockdown, and I think that's great. Like, it's really good to just keep yourself creative. There seems to be a lot of content that is kind of like more self-shot in style, I guess. So I guess like independent people are kind of just doing everything themselves, and a lot more of. In terms of what would help people, it's tricky to try and think of what's kind of out there in terms of like writing communities. There's so much on social media, there's so much on Twitter at the moment. I've only recently kind of found all these little communities, but I find them really quite inspiring. So I'd say for anyone who is trying to sort of break into the industry, start sort of making those connections now. Look on Twitter. I know TikTok's a big thing. I don't personally like TikTok that much, so I mean, it might be for you, it might not be, but I think there is those little opportunity shop Sue, if you've seen that on TikTok. I think that really helped boost that as a show. So it's like a little mockumentary, basically. I think it started off life as a YouTube series, and they've kind of taken little segments of it and put it onto TikTok. And that's kind of really boosted their profile online, and kind of brought people to it. So I think it is about being, I guess, diverse in the way you're kind of marketing what you're making. And it's not just about making that short film, it's about all those other things you can put on social to draw people to it. And it's about building that audience. So if you can make something shareable on TikTok, like little social, like Twitter, little things like that, just kind of puts people back into that sort of, oh yeah, I'll go and watch that, and then they'll hopefully watch the longer piece. I don't know if that helps, but
Sure.
it's something to consider.
That's interesting. Do you think that's one thing perhaps newer filmmakers, indie filmmakers don't do enough as, or that maybe they get surprised that they have to, like the promotion of their film? They've made the film, and maybe they're very, very good technically at making a film. Maybe they're very, very good at writing a script, but it's like they don't always seem to, or some don't always seem to know or even want to promote the fact that they've made the film. It's that, as you just said, it's like how do you get the audiences to you? Because there's very few people out there that's saying give it to us and we'll do it for you. Netflix aren't doing that, Amazon aren't doing that, Vimeo don't really do that. You've got the pick of the week and all that sort of thing. But do you think that's something that filmmakers need to be more aware of?
Yeah, 100%. Like when I first started, I wasn't even thinking about like things like posters or anything marketing wise. I was like, I'm going to make the film, and then that would be it. And I was kind of like, right, at this point, hopefully everyone will watch it, they'll all love it, it'll be great, etc. But even sort of at this point where I am now, I've been making these sketches, putting them on Twitter, kind of leading up to them. And then it would get to a point where not many people would watch it. And I was like, oh, okay, so actually you need to do more than just tell people you're going to drop this short. You need to actually build this sort of materials to really kind of sell it in different ways, and kind of just plaster it around social media just to draw that audience in. Because again, I've just dropped things sometimes and then it's just been tumbleweed, and I'm like, but I've done all this hard work and no one cares. Like, why don't they care? So I think, you need to think about that stage one, really. As soon as you've got your script, I think about what you're going to do to really release the film, especially because you aren't, potentially going to be on Netflix. You're not going to be on BBC Three necessarily. You're going to be putting it on something like Vimeo. What you can do to build it up and have those extra assets to just be like, okay, so I've got my poster, I've got these behind the scenes things, and you kind of start like a little pipeline, I guess, kind of dropping them to kind of build that sort of audience up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And even sort of people that are making reasonably big projects, I think probably also need to do. And
Yeah.
you know, Hollywood does that, don't they? They send so much money, so much time and effort promoting the big budget films they've done. So why wouldn't you do that on a smaller scale for a smaller film as well? Um, Obviously, lockdown has been very, very difficult um, last year and parts of this year. Um, yeah, what are you looking forward to the most? You know, assuming everything goes back to normal, if it does, um, in the next couple of weeks and months, do you think basically there will be lots of people just making lots of films? You've already sort of alluded to that, probably will be, but for yourself, do you see 2021 being a busy creative year?
I hope so. I mean, for me, I've got a few things sort of in the pipeline again, some smaller sketches that I'm kind of working on. So hopefully as things open up again, that would be great to kind of actually get people together on set and actually do things, obviously with all the safety gear and the masks still until eventually we don't need them, which will be a fantastic day, I'm sure. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be a creative year. I'm definitely going to keep pushing for it to be a creative filmmaking. Um, as I say, hopefully the zombie one will get off the ground. So I'm hopeful. And yeah, I'm not going to stop trying. So
That's the main thing. Um, for anyone who's listening, who's interested in finding out about your future films and that sort of thing, or the films you have done, do you want to mention your website, social media, that sort of thing?
yeah, sure. I'm quite active on Twitter. So it's just Sherice_G. And also I've got a website, Sherice, and some of my work in progress.
Cool. I'll make sure I put the links up. Um, Final question, I suppose.
Awesome.
For the period that you've been making films, that you've been thinking about being a filmmaker, um, if you could go back a year, 5 years, 10 years, and tell yourself something, you know, back when you were starting, from what you've learned now, what do you think that would be?
Oh, this is a tough one. I would say write more drafts. I think I was guilty of just sort of rushing into a few short films I'd made just from being like, right, this is draft zero, just going to go and make it. And I think actually the writing process for me is something that I've really kind of improved on so much over the years, just from rewriting and rewriting something. So I'd say write more drafts and don't just accept that it's done. I think just keep pushing it and push the boundaries because you don't know how good your script can be until you've kind of gone through the process of taking it. Yeah, I think that would be my advice.
That's good advice. I like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
Thank you very much for speaking with us today. I really enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure. Cool. Thank you, Tom.